The sun slowly dipped behind the jagged peaks, painting the sky in a deep blood-red hue. 4 friends, Alex, Marina, David, and Sarah, were hiking along the mountain trail when Marina suddenly stopped, pointing downwards. "Look, a railroad!" Rusty tracks snaked between the rocks like ancient metal tentacles. Tough mountain grass sprouted between the wooden ties. The abandoned line led into a darkening ravine. "That's strange," David muttered, pulling out a map. "There aren't supposed to be any railroads here. Maybe it's an old mining line?" Alex pulled out a flashlight. "Want to check it out?" "We've got about an hour before it gets dark." They descended to the tracks. David crouched down, inspecting the rails. "These are all rusted. Haven't been used in 100 years." The friends walked along the tracks for about 20 minutes. Suddenly, a dark, crumbling tunnel appeared ahead. Shadows loomed ominously in its arch, and the wind howled through the stone walls, creating a chilling, long whistle that echoed in their ears. Dusk was falling fast. Then, with another icy gust of wind, the temperature dropped sharply. A strange scent of rust filled the air. "Guys," Sarah pointed toward the tunnel. "Do you see that?" In the distance, 2 yellow lights appeared. At first, they were faint, like fireflies, but they grew brighter. A low rumble filled the valley, bouncing off the cliffs. "No way," David whispered. "These tracks have been dead for ages." But the sound grew louder. Now, they could clearly hear the rhythmic clatter of wheels on rails. An old steam locomotive slowly emerged from around the bend, shrouded in thick black smoke. 3 passenger cars trailed behind it, their windows dimly glowing with a yellowish light. No one could move. The train stopped right in front of them with a screeching hiss of the brakes. In the windows, they could see silhouettes, dozens of figures waving their hands. Their movements were jerky, unnatural. "Hey!" Alex shouted. "Who are you?" The carriage doors hissed open. Thick fog spilled out, wrapping around their legs. Sarah felt something cold grab her ankle. "Help!" she screamed, but it was too late. An invisible force dragged her toward the train. Alex lunged, trying to grab her hand, but his fingers only brushed her jacket. The doors slammed shut. The train jolted and began to move, its wheels sparking against the rusty tracks. Within moments, it vanished around the bend, leaving behind only a thick cloud of smoke and the distant fading echo of metal clanging. "Sarah!" Alex yelled, running along the tracks. "Sarah!" For hours, they ran along the rails, chasing the train. But all they found was an abandoned station, beyond which gaped a massive chasm. The locomotive simply couldn't have passed through. It was impossible. And yet, it was nowhere to be seen. The friends decided to camp at the abandoned station. "Guys, I found something," Marina whispered. She held an old newspaper in her hands. The yellowed pages crumbled in her fingers, but one photograph made them all shiver. In a group shot of railroad workers, dated 1932, there stood Sarah in the back row. She was dressed in an old-fashioned conductor's uniform, and her eyes were empty and lifeless. They say that if you visit those tracks at dusk, you might see the young conductor waving from the window of the last carriage of the ghost train, forever trapped between the worlds of the living and the dead.